Hello everyone, SquaredCircle Wrestling is back with another episode which includes, is Jon Moxley holding Bryan Danielson back? AEW slowly erasing CM Punk after his firing. Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley stepping up to save AEW. Update on AEW's locker room atmosphere following CM Punk's exit. Wrestling veteran calls CM Punk immature. Current world champion wants CM Punk to join major promotion after his AEW departure. And much more. You can check the complete list with time chapters in the description box below. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to our channel for all the latest news. Our top story for today looks at, is Jon Moxley holding Bryan Danielson back? Wrestling veteran Jim Cornette recently praised AEW star Bryan Danielson for always stepping up whenever needed, and bashed current AEW International Champion Jon Moxley in the process for holding Danielson back. The former WWE manager Jim Cornette, speaking on his official Jim Cornette podcast, praised Danielson for his strap match against Ricky Starks after returning from a forearm injury, while shoots on Moxley for holding Danielson back. He said, "A strap match may be easier with a bad arm than a regular style Danielson match, but he can do all of these. He's been hidden for so long in that goofy group with that stupid bald effing garbage wrestler Moxley, and that effing ridiculous whole gimmick where you saw less of Danielson than you did of everybody else, and he's the one that you wanted to see. He's had a couple of runs. At one point he was the best heel in the company, and at one point he was the best babyface. If he's got something to do, he can do it. Danielson has no, I'm gonna put my foot down and not associate or be associated with the stupid booking or this crummy group, and he excels at periods of time and then gets shoved in something that he won't say no to." Next up, Tony Khan provided private jet for AEW talent to attend Bray Wyatt's funeral. Bray Wyatt's passing was an event that shook the entire professional wrestling industry. According to comments made by Matt Hardy on his Extreme Life with Matt Hardy podcast, Tony Khan went out of his way to provide AEW talent with an opportunity to attend Bray Wyatt's funeral. Hardy said, "A big shout out to Tony Khan. He took care of everybody really good. He sent a jet down there and carried all the AEW talents up to TV in Indianapolis, and I was very grateful for that and definitely appreciated him. Once again, just showing how good-hearted of a human being he is. He really made it work out so that everyone that wanted to attend could attend." Next up, Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley stepping up to save AEW. Bryan Danielson really stepped up for AEW and Tony Khan as he took on responsibilities in the creative department. It appears that we will see a lot more of Danielson stepping up to work whenever Tony Khan needs him. Jon Moxley also has a ton of things that he can contribute to the mix. With Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley around, Tony Khan has two wrestling veteran performers who will do whatever to get AEW out of problems. Bryan Danielson, speaking on the recent interview, addressed backstage turmoil that had arisen within the company after the CM Punk incident at All In. He also expressed his admiration for Jon Moxley, who has demonstrated his capability to be a cornerstone for AEW when the situation demands it. He said, "One of the ethics that I believe in is you step up when you need to step up. It's interesting when you're crossing between real life and story, but we as the BCC, as a collective, who are real friends, we take stepping up seriously, whether that is in story or real life. Nobody is a better example of that than Jon Moxley, who has stepped up every time we've needed him to." Next up, CM Punk and Tony Khan had another meeting following All In Backstage Altercation. Following the backstage altercation between CM Punk and Jack Perry, Punk had another situation with Tony Khan after his match against Samoa Joe. It appears that Punk's brawl with Jack Perry and allegedly lunging at Tony Khan ultimately led to his firing. However, the latest report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter presents a completely different side of the story, as it suggests that another confrontation between Punk and Tony Khan took place after his match, which seemingly didn't end well. It was reported, besides what was reported about the chaos and uncertainty just as the PPV was starting, several others have contacted us this week. One noted that besides what happened before the Punk vs. Joe match, there was another situation after the match, involving Khan and Punk, but there were no witnesses to that past it happened and Khan came out of it very upset. Next up, AEW slowly erasing CM Punk after his firing. Following Punk's release, AEW has already begun to erase Punk of the very existence. According to PW Insider, AEW are trying to remove all the stuff associated with Punk, thus slowly erasing him completely from the history. It was reported, AEW has started removing images and any merchandise that has the likeness or is affiliated with CM Punk. This means that merchandise with the iconic X sign will no longer be available on the official website. Next up, wrestling veteran calls CM Punk immature. Fans around the world had mixed reactions to the news of Punk's firing from AEW. Some bashed Tony Khan for firing CM Punk, while others believed that it was the right call. Wrestling veteran Conan, speaking on his Keepin' It 100 podcast, supports Tony Khan's decision to fire Punk and criticized Punk for being immature. He said, "He was around a lot of immature people, but he himself did not handle it maturely. He should have been the adult in the room and he acted more of a kid than they did. He should have set the example, not try to be a tough guy and challenge everybody to a fight. You are trying to unite a locker room with a lot of young kids that need leadership. They need somebody to look up to, bro, and you weren't that person. Next up, update on AEW's locker room atmosphere following CM Punk's exit. AEW's locker room has undergone few significant changes over the past week. One of the biggest changes the promotion has gone through is the firing of CM Punk. AEW star Matt Hardy, speaking on the latest Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast, gave a hint on the AEW locker room atmosphere following Punk's exit, while talking about the All Out pay-per-view. He said, "It was such a good show, even though it was put together in the last week. But it was still a killer show. What a fantastic pro wrestling show. The vibe was great there that day. The vibe at Dynamite and Rampage was great as well. AEW is very healthy and in a positive place." Next up, popular AEW tag team officially disbands. One of the most popular AEW tag team, Proud and Powerful, has seemingly disbanded. This was following the statement by one half of the tag team, Santana. He announced tonight on Rampage that he would be a single wrestler from now on. He said, "The road I've chosen to take is one that must be taken on my own. No crutch, no crew. All I've done my entire life is bet on myself. I'll tell you this, I'm not here to be another guy in the game. I'm here to be the game. I know I'm gonna piss a lot of people off, but you ask me if I give a damn. I ain't here to make friends. I'm here to make money. If you ain't down, you're gonna get run down. The nastiest is yet to come." Next up, Eric Bischoff talks Edge leaving WWE for AEW. Former WCW president Eric Bischoff, speaking on his 83 Weeks podcast, talks how the rated R superstar should be booked if he signs with AEW. He said, "This is admittedly a glass half full because this would require that Tony relinquish some creative control and let somebody else do it. At least with regard to either Edge individually in his story or on Collision and use Edge there. I don't know what the personal relationship is between Bryan Danielson and Edge, but I would assume it's good and I would assume there's a lot of mutual respect." Next up, current world champion wants CM Punk to join major promotion after his AEW departure. Following CM Punk's AEW exit, fans have been speculating where he could end up next. While many believe that CM Punk might be back with WWE, but current NWA World Champion EC3 wants Punk to sign with NWA and believes that Punk's potential arrival could be a game changer for the company. The NWA World Heavyweight Champion EC3, during the latest Unscripted podcast, opened up about how CM Punk's presence in the NWA could positively affect the promotion. He said, "To have Punk come in would be a game changer, and I think our locker room has a more professional atmosphere sometimes, so I don't think the shenanigans and tomfoolleries of the intertwinings and dramatics would take place as much as people striving to be the best versions of themselves. And the best version of anybody is EC3 as the world's heavyweight champion." Next up, Vince Russo defends Jack Perry amidst calls for his release. Jack Perry might have gone heel on AEW TV, but fans have since turned on him in person after CM Punk incident. CM Punk's firing has increased calls for Perry's release online by the CM Punk fans. In light of all the backlash, wrestling veteran Vince Russo took to social media to show his support to Jack Perry. He wrote, "Don't know what Jack Perry did, or didn't do, said, or didn't say. Fact is that many reporting on his AEW situation don't know either. Why? Because they simply weren't there, so they are taking information from others with slants, biases, and agendas." He added, "If Tony Khan thinks Perry needs to go for disciplinary actions, then Perry needs to go. It's his company. However, with his backstory and look, in my opinion the guy's got star potential. Maybe his light just needs to shine somewhere else." And that is all for today's news. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel SquaredCircle Wrestling for all the latest updates.